again. In this subsection 1.4, we will learn how to balance the chemical equations. So let's go for it. Now the question arises that why do we need to balance the equations? So it is just because we need to follow the law of conservation of mass. Therefore, the number of atoms of the element present in the reactant side should be equal to the number of atoms present at the product side. Okay, now this balancing is basically based on hit and trial method. Okay, so suppose you have a reaction, say suppose you have Zn plus H2SO4 gives you ZnSO4 plus H2. So you know that there are following elements in this reaction: zinc, hydrogen, oxygen, but then it becomes confusing for you that which element should you balance first. So in order to do that, I have written certain points here. So first of all, try to balance the metals. So metals are again Kanaka, Meg, Zan, Fe, Sun, Pub. H I have cancelled out here because I am mentioning it here. Okay, Kohug, Ag, Au. Okay, if you don't know about the sequence, then please go through the concept classes. Now the next is look for the non-metals if there are any. Okay, so non-metals like carbon, chlorine, nitrogen and sulfur, they are very much there in equations many a times. Okay, now next is look for the oxygen in the reaction. Lastly, try to find out whether the hydrogen are balanced or not. So these are some of the clues which will help you out in order to balance the equation. So you may get these types in order to perform balancing. Okay, type 1 in which the equations are written in word format. Type 2 can be in which the equations are written in the form of statements, and type 3 in which the equations are written in the form of symbols and formulas. Okay, so we are going to solve these types one by one. Okay, now first is write a balanced equation for the following. So you have hydrogen, chlorine and hydrogen chloride. So first of all, try to write the formulas and symbol for the same. Okay, so hydrogen is H2, chlorine is Cl2, and then hydrogen chloride. So I know that H is +1 and chlorine is -1. So the formula comes out to be HCl. Now as per the clues, number 1, we need to see for the metal. So is there any metal out here? No. Then we look for non-metal apart from gases, hydrogen gas or the oxygen gas. So we have chlorine here. Okay, so we will try to balance this chlorine here. Now this is Cl2. So if we put 2 here, then the chlorine will be balanced, because now here also the chlorine is having 2 atoms and here also chlorine is having 2 atoms. Okay, now you cannot change the subscript. Okay, you cannot put 2 here in order to balance chlorine. Okay, that would be wrong. Okay, and try to use the lowest coefficient. So you cannot change the subscript and you can try to use the lowest coefficient. Okay, now while we put 2 here, see here in the products the hydrogen is having 2 atoms, and here also in the reactant the hydrogen is having 2 atoms. Okay, so it means that this equation is balanced. Now the second equation, here we are talking about barium chloride. So barium is Ba and it is +2, chlorine is -1, so it comes out to be BaCl2 plus aluminium sulfate. So aluminium is Al plus 3, SO4 sulfate -2. So it comes out to be, if you cross multiply, Al2 SO4 whole thrice. Okay, now in products, if you see, it is barium sulfate. So barium sulfate will be BaSO4. Okay, plus aluminium chloride. Aluminium, you know, it is +3 and chlorine is -1. So it is AlCl3. So I am telling you how to make this formula so that you do not cram it. Okay, you should know how they have originated. Okay, now we are going to balance it. So first of all, we'll balance aluminium because it's a metal. Again, barium is also a metal. So first of all, we look for aluminium. So Al is 2 here. So if I put 2 here, then the aluminium get balanced. Okay. Now talking about Ba, barium, it is altogether balanced. Now we'll try to balance chlorine. This is chlorine is 3 to the 6, so you multiply it. Okay, so it is 6 here, whereas it is 2 here. So if we put 3 here, we'll get 6. Okay, now talking about sulfate, SO4. Okay, so you can take it all together, SO4, or you can also break down and balance first S or O. I would suggest to balance SO4 all together. It makes the balancing easier. So SO4 is here and here it is 3. Okay, so if I put 3 here, then barium also get balanced and SO4 it also gets balanced. Okay, now talking about the next equation, which is sodium plus water gives sodium hydroxide and hydrogen. Again, first of all, we'll write the formula for the same. So sodium is Na and water is H2O. Okay, now we have sodium hydroxide. This is NaOH plus hydrogen H2. Okay, so sodium is balanced, one atom is there and one atom is there in the product also, it is balanced. Talking about oxygen, it is also balanced, whereas hydrogen, it is not balanced. It is 3 hydrogen here and 2 hydrogen here. Okay, so if I put 2 here, then it would be 4. Okay, now if I put 2 here, then hydrogen is balanced, but it has disturbed sodium and oxygen. So oxygen, there is no problem. It is here also oxygen is 2 and here also oxygen is 2. But the problem is with sodium. So if I put 2 here, then my sodium will also get balanced. So in this way, we are able to balance all the 3 elements, sodium, hydrogen and oxygen. Now we look forward for type number 2. Now in type number 2, we have statements written here. So what we can do is, we can first convert it into word equation and then into symbols and formulas. Okay, so it's up to you. So I would suggest that you can directly write the symbols and formulas for the same. Okay, so now this is barium chloride. So barium chloride, we know it is Ba plus 2 and Cl minus 1. So it comes out to be BaCl2. Okay, plus sodium sulfate. So we know that Na is plus 1 and SO4 is minus 2. So it comes out to be Na2SO4 gives you barium sulfate. So barium sulfate will be this and this combining, so it will be Ba plus 2 and SO4 minus 2, they will be combining and will be forming BaSO4 along with sodium chloride. So we know sodium chloride is NaCl because Na is plus 1 and Cl is minus 1. Now we are going to balance it. So first of all, try to balance sodium, which is a metal. So this is 2. So if I put 2 here, in that way, now chlorine has also become 2. And here chlorine is 2, so it is sodium chlorine are balanced. Now talking about barium, barium is also balanced and SO4 is also balanced. So we can say that we have received a balanced equation. Okay, now the next part, sodium hydroxide solution. Sodium hydroxide is what? It is NaOH. Okay, now it is reacting with hydrochloric acid HCl in order to produce sodium chloride, which is NaCl plus water, which is H2O. Now we know Na and Na, they are balanced. Talking about chlorine, it is also balanced. Now here H is 2 atoms are there of hydrogen, here also 2 hydrogen, and oxygen is 1 atom, here also oxygen is 1 atom. So this equation is already balanced. Okay. Now going to type number 3. So in type number 3, the formulas and symbols are already written. So we will be starting to balance it right away. Now talking about calcium, it is already balanced. Okay. Now NO3 nitrate, it is here you can see it's 2 here. So if I put 2 here in order to balance nitrate, then nitrate will be balanced. Okay. Talking about hydrogen, so hydrogen is having 2 atoms here and here also the hydrogen is having 2 and 2, 4 atoms, so it is not balanced yet. So if I put 2 here, see, so it is H, hydrogen is balanced, it is H4, and talking about oxygen, it is also balanced. Okay, this is how you are going to balance it. Okay, now the second equation, second is NaOH plus H2SO4 gives you Na2SO4 plus H2O. Now tell me one thing, what we are going to balance? Okay, we are going to balance sodium, right? So we look forward, here the sodium is having only one atom, whereas here it is 2 atoms. So if I put 2 here, my sodium will be balanced. In that way, I have disturbed oxygen and hydrogen. Okay, so hydrogen comes out to be here 2 and here 2, 4, whereas here the hydrogen is only 2. So if I put 2 here, in that way I will be able to balance the hydrogen. But what about oxygen? Oxygen is 2 here, oxygen is 2 here, and SO4 is 1 time, SO4 is 1 time. So in this way I will be able to balance the second equation. Okay, now the third equation. So third equation is NaCl plus AgNO3. Ag is silver, so it is silver nitrate. Okay, and it is giving me AgCl, silver chloride, plus NaNO3, NaNO3. Okay, now silver, if you look for silver, silver is having only one atom here, here also one atom. Chlorine is having one atom here, here also one atom. Sodium one atom, sodium one atom, and nitrate one is altogether one, here also altogether one. So it is a balanced equation. Now we look forward for the next equation, which is BaCl2 plus H2SO4, and it is giving me BaSO4, barium sulfate, along with HCl. Okay, so first of all we look forward for a metal. So barium is a metal here, and see if it's balanced or not. So see, it is balanced, barium and barium they are balanced. Okay, single atom. Now talking about chlorine, so it is Cl2, whereas here there is no, it is only one atom of chlorine. So if I put 2 here, then chlorine will be balanced. But now the hydrogen has become 2, here also hydrogen 2, and sulfate altogether was 1, and sulfate altogether was 1. Okay, so it means we have received a balanced equation. Okay, so now it's the time for a takeaway point. So we know that we need to balance the equation because we have to obey the law of conservation of mass, which says that atoms can neither be created nor destroyed. Okay, so far we have balanced few equations. I will be writing more equations forward and we would be balancing it. Okay. So now is the time for think and write. Take a moment and try to write the answers to this question. So you need to first convert it into symbols and formulas, and then you need to balance it. Okay. Now the first thing, calcium hydroxide reacting with carbon dioxide. So calcium hydroxide, it will be CaOH2. Why? Because Ca is plus 2 and OH is minus 1. So once you cross multiply, it will be this. Now carbon dioxide, you all know it is CO2, and calcium carbonate. Now calcium is Ca is plus 2, and what about CO3? Minus 2. That's why we have CaCO3 along with water. Okay. So if you balance it, see what happens. Calcium and calcium, they are all same. They are all balanced. Now talking about carbon. So it is one atom of carbon, one atom of carbon. Talking about oxygen. Oxygen is 2 and 2, 4 here. So here also 4. And what about hydrogen? Hydrogen is 2. So it is balanced. Okay. Now the next, zinc plus silver nitrate. So silver is Ag plus 1 and NO3 minus 1. So formula comes out to be AgNO3 along with zinc nitrate. So zinc is plus 2 and NO3 nitrate is minus 1. So formula comes out to be ZnNO3 whole twice along with silver, Ag. Okay, so if we look for zinc, it is balanced, silver it is balanced. NO3 is whole twice, whereas here it is only single. So if we put 2 here, I have disturbed silver also. I have to put 2 here in order to balance silver. Now aluminium. Aluminium is Al. And copper chloride. So Cu is +2 and chlorine is -1. So formula comes out to be CuCl2 along with aluminium chloride. So aluminium is +3 and chlorine -1. So it comes out to be AlCl3 plus copper is Cu. So if we try to balance aluminium, so aluminium is all balanced here. Okay, we're talking about copper. Copper is also balanced. And talking about chlorine. So chlorine is 2 here, whereas chlorine is 3 here. So if I put 2 here and if I put 3 here, then see what happens. So it is copper is 3 here now. Now if I put 3 here, then copper is balanced. Talking about chlorine, it is 3 to the 6. 3 to the 6. Chlorine is also balanced. And aluminium is 2 here. If we put 2 here, aluminium also get balanced. Okay. Now the last equation is barium chloride. So Ba +2 and Cl -1. It comes out to be BaCl2 plus potassium sulfate. So K is +1 and SO4 is -2. So it comes out to be K2SO4. Okay. Now barium sulfate, Ba is +2 and SO4 is -2. So it is BaSO4 along with potassium chloride. Potassium is K and chlorine is Cl. So it is K +1, Cl -1, it is KCl. Now we will see how to balance it. So see, potassium is 2 here, whereas here potassium is only 1 atom. So if I put 2 here, potassium gets balanced. Talking about barium, it is single atom here, single atom here. So it is balanced. Talking about chlorine, so it is Cl2 and here also it is Cl2. So it is balanced. Talking about sulfate, it is SO4 and here also SO4. So we altogether got a balanced equation here. So I hope so that you have learned how to balance the equations. I will meet you again in the next section in which we will be talking about types of reaction. Till then, bye bye and take care of yourself.